just sitting here watching the wheels go round and round. I really love to watch them roll. No longer riding on the merry-go-round. I just had to let it go. Welcome to Off the Grid with Skantar. What you're looking at is my light tree that we've been using these whole 2 seasons. And you can see the scope of it. There's a lot going on there. Now we're going to show you how many amps it's pulling. So we're going to zoom in. I have this amp meter clamped on. What I had to do, you have to separate the 2 wires. There's actually 3 wires going in there. There's a green one, a white one, and a black one. So I have the green one and the white one on one side over here, and I have the black one all by itself over here. That way I could clamp my clamp amp meter on and analyze whatever's plugged in, which happens to be my entire light tree. And it's pulling 0.547 roughly. Now it's 0.6, so it's 0.63, 0.64, so basically an average of a half an amp to 60% of an amp. So 0.53 amps. Okay, now let's see what some other things might pull. I have this LED bulb, right? This LED bulb it's pulling 0.065. So you could run 10 of these LED bulbs for that one whole big ass light tree, okay? Now, here's something. Here's a 70 watt incandescent light bulb, and remember we compared these to volcanic rocks. Like this might get warm here, but this will get hot enough to fry bologna. Now that's a lot of wasted heat. So what you're getting, 0.65, and that's a very constant 0.655 amps. So this one bulb, I could run that whole LED show, laser beams and everything for this, and this is getting too hot to even handle already. So unless you wanted to heat your head with all this heat, and you can imagine if you're running this in a hot summer, your air conditioner has to battle that. And here's something else we could plug in to give you a clue. Is a hot glue gun. Okay, we'll see what it might pull. .4. It's stabilizing at 0.45, so almost a half an amp. So almost a half an amp. That gives you a lot. So you can plug your different things in with a setup like this and know exactly what you're pulling and what your limits are. We're going to check out the latest trade journals here. And in buildings, right on the front page, it's strengthen your security, the best practices for biometrics. Now, would a starving artist have a biometric safe? Sure, as a gift from a benefactor. And what would a starving artist have in his safe is a bottle of absinthe from 2013 and a very special painting. It's an original Skantar. Cake and ice cream. And I'd like to point out this was done with color shifting paint and everything. We're continuously trying to improve the way we do things. This is going to be a wedding gift for a very dear friend. That was a demonstration of biometrics. The other types of biometric technology they mentioned, the eyes, iris, retina has a lot more information, individual information. Hands, handprints, fingerprints, hand geometry. And that was it. Like if you would try to hit this with a different finger and such, it would look at it and say, okay, go ahead. And so that thing, you know, kind of let me in, let me skate on that one. But what happens with this, with me, my fingerprints change. It needs to be updated. That's why there's a key backup. If it won't let me in, see, strike out, then I can open it up with my key. But the other ways you could, biometric technology, the face, facial geometry, 2D, 3D, face model, your phone knows it's you now. And the gait, just the way you walk. Now I have a bad leg now, surely that's unique and distinctive. And the shape of ears and the veins, so they're practically breaking you down to the bare essence there. Some of the other things they had in here is a drone, like for inspecting your buildings. This is a buildings magazine. And yeah, I got one, it's coming up. You know, I did everything wrong with my initial drone flight. You know, I just sat it down and it's like, feel lucky, do you? I turned it on, and the first flight ever, right, at the table here, right, and I quickly thought maybe I better just shut it off, but it wouldn't just let me shut it off, and these are going like little freaking chainsaws to beat the band. I could not believe. So I figured I'll have to let it fly to shut it off, right? So up it goes, it just whirling away, and it just misses my head, and I duck, and it sucked itself up against the wall, and it was just like, you know, and no, actually it was backwards, I'm sorry, it was this way, and it was like, again, the wall over there, and one of my paintings like kind of latched onto this landing gear, and it just going to beat hell, right? And I had to reach in this tiny little freaking switch and shut it off, and that was my first drone flight ever. And I'll tell you what, that was very exciting. It was and then I took it outside and we let her rip out there. And oh, what I figured wisely, I removed the camera, because it was like trying to learn to drive a 4-speed truck, but with a snow plow on front, you know, and try to learn it all. So took the snow plow off. So without the camera, it would actually behave itself, and I was able to hack through some flights, several crash landings. Looks like it's going to hit the window. And then, you know, relating this tale to an experienced drone guy, my good buddy Stan at work, or Ace, he suggested that I tether the thing so it really can't get away, and then, you know, learn, you know, to tie my shoes on it that way. So we're going to try that. That's coming up. And that was mentioned in here. And one more thing that I really thought was super cool in this mag, they had windows, I'll just tell you about it, to do double duty. So it's a tinted window, okay, and when the sun comes up, it starts to get darker. The cool thing about this one, as it darkens, it's making electricity. It's behaving like a solar panel, but it's blocking out the glare of your sun, and it's making power. And I just love to generate an electromotive force. And that's one way, that photovoltaic way. Let's discuss a couple other ways to generate an electromotive force. You could move a conductor in a magnetic field like a generator. Okay, we're familiar with that. Then there's a piezoelectric way to generate an electromotive force, and that was like the old-fashioned stylus on a record player. Yeah, look it up. There used to be such a thing. And also maybe the igniter on your grill might be a piezoelectric type of a thing. And there's a like a thermocouple if you have two dissimilar metals, and then they're connected, and you heat that. You will generate a tiny electromotive force, and they'll use that to hold the coil of a pilot light. And as long as that thermocouple's in the pilot flame, that little magnet can hold it there. But if the pilot light goes out, the electromotive force ceases and it shuts the gas off, you know, magically. And that's enough for now. We can look at this power engineering book, but having perused this in detail, I could tell you this is really cool. This is the new era of CHP. That's combined heating and power. And our Kohler rep was just there, and I suggest, hey, look into that. You're making great generators. Why not make some rooftop heaters too? Now this thing saved the day in hurricane, because you can see it's like a rooftop heater, which I worked on, you know, and they're great. You know, they run on natural gas and they'll heat to beat the band. And this generator also runs on natural gas. So, boom, you know, your power is out, you're off the grid like we are. We're always off the grid here, totally disconnected from the main power grid. So you're off the grid, and then you want to heat your building, so boom, this thing fires up, it makes voltage, and it heats your freaking building. I like it. I really like it. That was like my last few episodes back where I had the oven that was a heater. Let's just build things, you know, better and get there. You know, one device should be able to do just about everything if it's built correctly and installed correctly. You're looking at Go Fast, another original. We have layers of original art. Before we start our official liquor laboratory, we're going to just simply do a shot. And this is not cold filtered. This will come up in the lab, you know. Because there are those of us who think you might be filtering the flavor away. Oh. So we'll examine that. But we will mention the dearly departed Bruno Sammartino. I shook hands with him. My big old hand looked like a Barbie doll hand in a man's hand there. That man was huge. And they were talking about him on the radio today, saying that, oh yeah, he was a scrawny 13-year-old kid. Someone suggested he went to the gym. Boy, he took that ball and ran with it. The nicest guy in the world. And we'll miss him. And Lee Harmony, the only host that has a bazooka and knows how to use it. Now, like, I could relate to that because we have a Freon-powered BB submachine gun and a host that knows how to use it. And we may use that to demonstrate amp draw. Bless you, brother, my brother over there. Our producer, Rimmel, couldn't do this without him. Could not do this. And Barbara Bush. No matter what you thought of any of the other family, everybody liked her, if not loved her. And we will salute her, especially. And to our dear departed. And my one neighbor, he said it best, people are dying today that never died before. So is there something you really want to do or say, you better get her done? Okay, we're in the liquor lab here officially, and we're bringing up another great book on the show, The Drunken Botanist by Amy Stewart. Now this lady knows her way around the liquor store, and what we have here is the scales of justice that is going to weigh and measure two different schools of thought. Okay, on the one hand, there's a traditional way of the burning sugar cube of absinthe, and on the other hand, there's the botanist version. So what we are going to do, we are going to rocket science drinking completely here, and this stuff is a good place to start. This absinthe It's about 70% alcohol. It will burn. It is a rocket fuel, and it was kept in a safe for good reason. It's near and dear to an artist's heart, and it's made from wormwood, although that's not the real flavor. It's a licorice flavored drink, and they're saying that they're traditionally higher in alcohol. But the rocket scientists, I'm gonna quote this fine lady here. She's calling this a chemistry lesson, so we're going to have a off-the-grid liquor chemistry lesson here. Licorice, and now for a chemistry lesson by Amy Stewart. You got to buy this book, The Drunken Botanist. The licorice flavor in pastis and other such spirits can actually come from several different and surprisingly unrelated plants. What each of them have in common is anethole, a licorice flavor molecule with some unique characteristics. It is soluble in alcohol, but not in water. So licorice flavored drinks are generally higher in alcohol content to keep the anethole molecules from breaking out of solution. But when more water is added, particularly cold water, as is the custom for drinking pastis and absinthe, the anethole separates from the alcohol and forms a milky white or pale green cloud in the drink called the louche in the case of absinthe. The reason the absinthe doesn't simply float to the top in an oily broth, or an oily blob, excuse me, when the water is added, as say olive oil or butter might float to the top of a bowl of soup, is that the anethole has what chemists refer to as a low interfacial tension. Imagine two drops of water next to each other. If they get very close together, they will easily merge and become one drop of water. Water drops have a higher level of surface tension and tend to merge readily. On the other hand, picture two soap bubbles. They might stick to each other but will not necessarily merge together to form one larger bubble. That's because they have a lower surface tension. The low surface tension of anethole slows down the speed at which those droplets come together to form one oily mass. That means that pastis or absinthe will stay uniformly cloudy when water is added to the glass as the anethole breaks loose but resists clumping together. Some distillers use chill filtration to remove any of these large unstable molecules that will otherwise cloud the drink in the presence of water or even cold temperatures, which is why some licorice flavored drinks don't get cloudy. And some oily plant-based flavor molecules happen to be transparent, which means when they break out of suspension, they don't cloud a drink the way anethole does. Now, how can you not want to buy this book? That is a drop in the bucket. So we are going to drill down on absinthe here. We're going to cut while I open this fine bottle that was from 2013 because I don't want to fiddle around. This cut. We're gonna open this up. There's a little seal here, and I could smell that licoricey stuff. It's wrapped up tighter than bark on a tree. I knew this would be a bit of a struggle. Okay, here we go. Oh, well, there we go. There we go. We're in. Okay. Did not need surgical instruments. We need freaking shot glass. Time out. It was right in front of me, I just couldn't see it. Now, we are going to measure a shot of absinthe for drink number one. Don't light a match. For drink number two, we're we're going to put the ice water in. And I know that the maker of this would add some ice to that. So we will just put a little bit of this in there. Okay. And then we're going to just make some ice water by adding water to ice. Brilliant, right? 2 ingredients, ice and water. If you let that sit for 2 seconds, there you go, boom, boom, stir it up. If you want to calibrate your freaking thermometer, you would stick it in there in that ice water and it would be precisely 32 degrees Fahrenheit or 0 degrees centigrade. Now we will add some of this ice water here, okay. And there's a little bit of ice in there. Now that's just a straight up absinthe. Now, we're going to take a shot of this rocket fuel, and you would never want to do a shot of this stuff. It's 70% alcohol. It's like 140 proof. You're about to see it, it burns. So, I'm going to tell you a story about my buddy Rob Dog. He did a shot of that. And I drove him home, and I was hoping I didn't get pulled over because he was lit up, and he's no lightweight. That'll put you down. I'm going to take a time out. Okay, we're back. I had to find my Royal Flush Bic lighter here. Now what we're going to do, we're going to pour this absinthe over this sugar cube. In lieu of an absinthe spoon, we have a cheese grater that will perform the same function. Now we're going to light this up, and you can see, I don't know if you could see the flame, but it's a burning, and I want to keep it away from whatever I spilt here, and it's just burning away. Now on the other hand here, we want to add some ice water very, very slowly to this side. So I don't know if I can do this. Yeah, I could do that. And I hear it's starting to rain, how appropriate. So now this is going to take some time as this ice water slowly melts and this slowly burns down into there and gets stirred in. So we're going to take a break while this happens. Okay, now I can't wait to taste these two vastly different recipes. Now you can see this is indeed cloudy. The deluge or the arrival of the green fairy, whatever you want to call it. It's uniformly cloudy, every much so as much as the sugar one. And I see a little bit of the sugar still there. So we'll use the corkscrew to mash it up. And I'm used to drinking it this way, I'll admit. What I'm going to do, I'm going to try that first, because this is my old fave. Oh my. Oh my, I love it. I love it. Now to me, that will be very hard to beat. That is like proof that God loves us and wants us to be happy. Now let's try this recipe. It's not sugar, you know, and it was slowly, the water was slowly as we could do it, dripped in there, according to this genius that releases one ingredient at a time. You know, you don't want to rush this. It takes a long time to make it. It takes a long time to, you know, enjoy it. So, and also she's saying, don't try to get it much colder than the ice water. As it warms, it changes flavor. So I'm going to just try it now. This is straight up. This is, I used to drink coffee with sugar and cream. Then I started switching to black and love it. So let's see how this goes. It smells much the same. I can taste just a hint of the wormwood in here. Oh, you know what? That's a tough call. Oh, and don't drive anywhere after you drink absinthe. Trust me. Man, this is just like Martha Stewart's versus Snoop Dogg's fried chicken. She marinated hers for 3 days, and he used barbecue potato chips. It was a tie. I gotta call it a tie. I'm gonna let Rimmel have a taste of this, and I'll let you know what he thinks. Well, Rimmel chose #1 with the sugar cube, you know, so basically it's a tie, so it's unanimous. What I've done here as an experiment is tried to chill this distiller's cut that's not cold filtered. All they do with this is pull out the chunks of the barrel that might be in there without, you know, trying to make it clear. Now, so it's pretty much cold, and if it's cloudy, it's very faint. You know what I mean? I wouldn't sweat the cloudy. I like the taste. I mean, if I didn't want to taste, I'd just drink vodka, right? You can't lose. So we're going to leave that for later. Now we're going to see you next week.